My name is Sarah Peterson, and I am 31 years old. I live in a quiet, beautiful community tucked away in upstate New York, a place known for its artists and the hushed beauty of its deep forests. My world revolves around glass. Not just any glass, but the kind that holds light and memory, that tells stories with every curve and shard. I am a glass artist, and my hands, though often scarred from intricate work, can coax light and emotion from molten silica like nothing else. I pour my very soul into my creations, shaping fragile beauty into something solid and eternal. My studio, a converted old barn with enormous windows overlooking a wooded ravine, is my sanctuary, my church. It's where I spent 5 years of my life creating my masterpiece, a sprawling installation I called Whispers of Ancestry. It was a tapestry of glass, each piece representing a facet of my family's history, my hopes, my dreams, my very being. It was meant to be my breakthrough, my legacy. People said my work was too introspective, too delicate for the cutthroat art world, but I knew Whispers of Ancestry was different. It vibrated with a raw, undeniable truth. Then Brenda appeared. Brenda Vance, a charismatic, beautiful gallery owner from the city. She was all charm and flattery, praising my unique vision, promising me the world. She came to my studio, saw Whispers of Ancestry, and her eyes, I remember, held a hunger I mistook for appreciation. She became my friend, my confidant, seemingly my biggest supporter. She told me she could launch my career, that my work deserved to be seen by the right people, the wealthy collectors, the influential critics. What problem did I have to solve? It was simple, really. How to stop a viper once it has already struck. Brenda, the woman I trusted, the woman who spoke of shared artistic passion, stole Whispers of Ancestry right out of my studio. She didn't just take it. She dismantled it piece by agonizing piece, and then she rebuilt it, claiming it as her own original work. She called it Echoes of the Past, a sickening mockery of my deeply personal title. She used her connections, her smooth lies, and her undeniable charm to present my masterpiece as her genius. And then, she systematically destroyed me. She spread rumors that I was unstable, that I was a bitter, untalented recluse who hallucinated grand ideas. She showed doctored emails, faked conversations, all painting me as a delusional, jealous, aspiring artist trying to capitalize on her success. Overnight, my world shattered even more completely than any piece of glass ever could. My studio lease was terminated, galleries closed their doors to me, and even the few friends I had in the art world began to distance themselves, swayed by Brenda's compelling narrative. I tried to fight back, of course. My first attempt was through the legal system. I gathered every sketch, every journal entry, every photograph detailing the creation of Whispers of Ancestry. I showed them to lawyers, my voice trembling with indignation and hope, but Brenda had covered her tracks meticulously. She had fabricated documents, bought off witnesses, and used her influential friends to ensure that every claim I made was dismissed as the ramblings of a mentally unstable woman. The legal bills piled up and I quickly ran out of funds, forcing me to abandon that avenue. The problem didn't just remain, it grew. My reputation was in tatters, painted not just as a bad artist, but as a deranged one. Next, I turned to the internet. I created anonymous accounts, posting my story on forums, trying to expose Brenda's fraud. I uploaded photos of my original designs, dates, even snippets of Brenda's emails where she praised my work. For a brief moment, I thought I was making headway, seeing sympathetic comments, a few people questioning Brenda's sudden rise. But Brenda's network was far more extensive and ruthless than mine. Her public relations team swiftly mobilized, flooding the internet with counter-narratives, accusing me of cyberbullying, of being a stalker, of fabricating evidence out of jealousy. My attempts were drowned in a sea of negativity, my online presence buried under a landslide of orchestrated hate. The original problem of theft morphed into a problem of public crucifixion. The financial strain became unbearable. I lost my beautiful studio, the sanctuary where I had poured my lifeblood. I had no choice but to pack up the remnants of my life and move back to my childhood home, a place that now felt like a prison of my own failure. The shame was a physical weight, pressing down on me every waking moment. My passion, my identity, everything I had lived for felt extinguished. The worst part, the cruelest twist, was the small, deliberate torments Brenda inflicted. She would occasionally send me anonymous packages containing tiny, exquisitely cut pieces of colored glass, almost certainly fragments from Whispers of Ancestry itself, accompanied by mocking notes about how much she was enjoying her masterpiece. Each shard was a dagger to my soul. I spiraled into a deep depression, the vibrant colors of my world fading to a dull, hopeless gray. My hands, once so skilled, felt clumsy and useless. I couldn't bring myself to work with glass anymore. Every gleam, every reflection, was a bitter reminder of what I had lost. My life became a monotonous cycle of waking up, enduring a dead-end job at a local diner just to pay bills, and returning home to stare at the empty shelves where my art once stood. The lowest point came when Brenda's Echoes of the Past was featured in a live televised interview, broadcast from a prestigious New York City gallery. I watched, numb with despair, as Brenda stood beside my masterpiece, basking in the glow of critical acclaim, her elegant voice weaving lies about her creative process, her struggles, her vision. She was lauded as a visionary, a genius. And I, the true artist, was nothing but a ghost, watching from the shadows of my shattered life, unable to afford even the raw materials to create a new piece, haunted by the memory of my stolen beauty. All felt lost. There was no going back, no winning against her, or so I thought. The despair eventually gave way to a cold, hard resolve. I had lost everything, but in that emptiness, a new purpose began to solidify, like molten glass cooling into an unbreakable form. I knew Brenda. I knew her artistry, or rather, her lack thereof. She could mimic, she could steal, but she could never understand the soul I poured into whispers of ancestry. That piece, my piece, had secrets only I knew. I remembered a specific, almost imperceptible detail in the core of the largest section of Whispers of Ancestry. A unique, microscopic etching, a family crest I had carved into an internal layer of glass that would only become visible under very specific, multi-directional light. It was my artistic fingerprint, my fail-safe, a ghost in the machine. Brenda, for all her cunning, would never have noticed it, let alone been able to replicate it or hide it. I spent months planning, not just revenge, but revelation. I returned to my studio, now a dust-laden tomb of forgotten dreams, and began to work again, not on a new piece of art, but on a tool, a weapon. I painstakingly constructed a complex, portable lighting rig designed to precisely mimic the conditions needed to reveal my hidden signature. It was an intricate dance of lasers, ultraviolet lights, and polarized filters, all contained within a sleek, innocuous-looking casing that resembled a modern art display stand. I also created a small, seemingly simple glass sculpture. This piece was designed to be a decoy, a distraction, a way to get my rig into the gallery undetected. It was minimalist, stark, reflecting the emptiness Brenda had created in me, but within its depths, it held a small, almost invisible projector that could cast a specific, powerful beam. My opportunity came with the announcement of Brenda's major solo exhibition, featuring Echoes of the Past as its centerpiece. It was to be held at a prestigious gallery, a gala event attended by the city's most influential art critics, collectors, and media personalities. It was Brenda's coronation. And it would be her undoing. I used my decoy sculpture, posing as a burgeoning artist seeking exhibition space, to gain access to the gallery during setup. I convinced a naive assistant to temporarily place my sculpture near Echoes of the Past, claiming it was for an informal viewing by a visiting curator who appreciated juxtaposition. Once inside, with my rig disguised as part of the decoy, I subtly tweaked the gallery's existing lighting system, ever so slightly adjusting the angles of specific spotlights that illuminated my stolen work. These adjustments were minute, almost imperceptible, but they were critical. The night of the exhibition was a whirlwind of flashing cameras, hushed conversations, and champagne flutes clinking. Brenda, radiant in a shimmering gown, held court in front of Echoes of the Past, her stolen triumph. The air buzzed with admiration. I stood in the periphery, my heart a frantic drum against my ribs, watching her every move. She began her speech, her voice smooth and confident, detailing her inspiration and her struggle to create such a profound piece. My moment came when a technician, following a precise, pre-programmed schedule, shifted the main spotlights to highlight Brenda for a moment before returning to the art. That was my cue. As the lights swung back to Echoes of the Past, my disguised rig, already in place, activated with the subtle shift in current I had orchestrated. A silent, invisible ballet of light began. The multidirectional lasers and polarized filters precisely struck the surface of my stolen masterpiece. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, subtly, the light began to interact with the hidden etching within the core of the glass. A ghostly image began to shimmer within the depths of the sculpture, a spectral glow that pulsed with a faint, internal light. It wasn't immediately obvious, not a glaring sign, but a whispered secret unfurling. Then, as the light intensified, the microscopic family crest, my unmistakable signature, bloomed into full visibility, projected like a hologram within the glass itself. It was accompanied by another, larger optical illusion, the light bending to form three simple words across the surface of the glass, shimmering like liquid fire. Property of Sarah. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Brenda's smooth words died in her throat, her face draining of color as she stared, horrified, at the undeniable proof of her crime. The subtle adjustments I had made to the gallery's main lights, combined with my hidden rig, created a perfect storm of revelation. Cameras flashed, capturing not Brenda's proud smile, but her frozen, terrified expression. Whispers turned into shouts, gasps into accusations. The art world, that fickle, brutal beast, had turned on its darling. Brenda's career was incinerated in that moment. Her reputation, once pristine, became synonymous with fraud and deception. The gallery owners immediately removed echoes of the past from display, now a tainted testament to her crime. Lawsuits followed, not against me, but against Brenda from every collector she had duped, every institution she had misled. She lost everything: her gallery, her fortune, her freedom. She vanished from the public eye, a pariah. I, Sarah Peterson, did not return to my quiet life in upstate New York immediately. The experience had changed me. The act of revenge, while satisfying, had forged something new and unsettling within my artistic soul. I found myself drawn to darker themes, to the hidden truths and the subtle horrors of the human condition. My new art was still glass, still intricate, but it held a chilling edge, a dangerous beauty. My sculptures explored betrayal, deception, and the fragile line between creation and destruction. They were potent, unsettling, and undeniably brilliant. Critics who once dismissed me now clamored for my work, calling it unflinchingly honest and hauntingly profound. I became a celebrated artist, but my fame was tinged with a reputation for creating pieces that could disturb as much as they captivated. My new normal was one of recognition, yes, but also a profound understanding of the darkness that can dwell within art and within people. I knew how to make glass sing, but I also knew how to make it scream. As for Brenda, she never recovered. But the most poetic consequence wasn't just her ruin. The echoes of the past, my stolen masterpiece, which was eventually returned to me, now carried a peculiar, lingering curse for her. Though she never physically owned it again, she reportedly began to see the ghostly inscription, "Property of Sarah," shimmering on surfaces everywhere she looked, on her walls, in her reflections, even in her own eyes. It was a phantom projection of light, a persistent optical illusion that haunted her waking hours and plagued her nightmares. A permanent, chilling reminder that some truths, once revealed, can never be unseen. And sometimes, the most exquisite revenge isn't just about taking back what was stolen, but about ensuring the thief forever sees the mark of what they lost.